Bismillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. My beloved brothers and sisters, our fathers and mothers, parents, I greet you with the Islamic greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Bashir Mundi, and let me confess that I am a Nupe man. My dear sister Salatu talked about don't marry Nupe man and don't marry Kanuri man, and I married a Kanuri woman. So it's like I can't escape it, MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. There's just so much in parenting, and as my sister Salah said, we would really be the ones to benefit if all of you were to contribute your wisdom about parenting, but there's just so much to be able to crunch in this little time. But mashallah, I've had distinguished speakers before me who have allowed me to keep ticking off points that I've had to say. What inshallah I want to do is to summarize my little thoughts in the words of a saying that's famously attributed to Sayyidina Ali. It's not a hadith, but it's a saying attributed to Sayyidina Ali. And there's so many wise parenting wisdoms that are attributed to Sayyidina Ali. He is reported to have said about raising our children, he is reported to have said, La'ibuhu bisaba'in, addibuhu bisaba'in, khalliluhu bisaba'in. Play with your child for 7 years. Then give them adab, give them good, proper orientation, discipline for 7 years. And then lastly, he is reported to have said, Khaliluhu bisaba'in. Then become their friend, your child's friend, for 7 years. In the first 7 years, psychologists tell us that children are born with 10 billion neurons, 10 billion nerve cells. And in their first 3 years, they develop and add billions more of what they call glial cells to nourish these neurons, these nerve cells. That is an age where they are absorbing so much, and their nerve cells are making so much network connections in between them. It's a very massive explosion, really, of exploration. So they are soaking up the environment they're learning, and that's why those early years are extremely important. Now, children who are in that first 7-year stage in their life, their world is play. Our sister talked about, playing with the children. Their world is play. They learn through play and song. They learn A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and that's how they learn. They learn the state capitals, with songs. If you were to teach them the way you teach adults, they will not be able to absorb that. So you want to play with them for 7 years. In the example of the hadith Sister Surura brought, where the Prophet ﷺ was praying, and his son Hassan climbed on his neck, and the companions thought, what happened? Did he die? Is he receiving revelation? And he said that, my grandson was playing, I wanted him to, enjoy, have fun, and, take his time. Now the question, the thing to reflect, when you reflect about that, how many of us have that much patience with children, with our children? How many of us get very irritable when children do things and we're not patient? We're very irritable, we're very angry. We feel, well, I'm the parent, you shouldn't play around me. There are parents who, and there are families, sadly, who when the father is coming home, the kids are happy, they're playing. When the father is coming home, everybody runs and goes and hides and becomes meek. It's like, the big bad wolf has come home. And this is, what was the Prophet doing? Praying, salah, in communion with his Lord. What could be more important? And in the stage of salah where his head was on the forehead, where we are told you are closest to Allah, but he allowed his grandchild to play, and even to play to their satisfaction. Aisha radiallahu anha, her mother, in a very famous hadith called Hadith Zar, and she is the Prophet ﷺ, she's telling the Prophet about these women during the time of Jahiliyyah, and there were 11 women, and each was talking about their husband. And one of the women said about her husband, "Zawji idha dakhala fahid, wa idha kharaja asid, wa la yas'alu amma ahid." She says, my husband, each wife is talking about their husbands. Some are praising their husband, how wonderful they are. Some are condemning their husbands, you know. This one said, my husband, idha dakhala fahid. Whenever he comes home, he's like a leopard. He is like a leopard, gentle, you know, comes home. وَإِذَا خَرَجَ أَسِدْ. But when he goes out, he's a lion. He roars when he goes out. You know, at home he's meek, you know, calm, Clark Kent. When he goes out, he's Superman. You know, people say, yeah, that's a man. Some of us, it is when we come home that we roar. You know, and you put your, you know, you even talk down at your wife in front of your children, which is a big no-no. And everybody's scared of you at home. But when you go out, you're a chicken. You're a chicken. You know, our children, you are the heroes of your children. Children adore their parents. Every child thinks their dad is the strongest man in the world. I mean, I used to think that when I was young. Every child thinks their mom is the best person in the world, her food is the greatest in the world, etc. So you have this high station with your children. Don't disappoint them. I don't mean to say live what you're not, but know that they are looking up to you. So in that young age, we want to give them an opportunity to play. Let them play. Let them learn through play. Some of our children, and I work in a primary school, you will find how some parents, the kind of itinerary they have for their children, even CEOs don't have such itinerary. The kid comes to school, after that he goes to Islamia, in the weekend he has some special program. It's like that, the child has no play time. And when this child grows up, they've missed out on a key part of their development. And you start finding a teenager, a 20-year-old, behaving like a child. It's because the parents made them miss out on that aspect of their childhood. Then the next stage, he says, is أَدِّبُوهُ بِسَوَئٍ. Give them adab, give them proper upbringing. This is where teaching them responsibility, teaching them how to behave, teaching them the deen. And also setting standards, discipline. Wallahi, you'll find some families where between the children and the parents, you don't know who is the child and who is the parent. Because the children are bullying their parents. It's whatever the kids want. And you find, you tell the mother, you tell the dad, well, why don't you do so? You know, the kids, they don't like that, and etc., etc. It's whatever the child wants. I also worked in a secondary school, so I can tell you a lot about that, okay? You have to set the standards. You are the parent, but you gotta walk your talk. You gotta walk your talk. Don't fake it. Keep it real. You know, like the black Americans say, don't fake the funk. You know the funk, the smell, because the funk will come out, and the kids, they can smell the funk. So don't fake the funk. Keep it real. Be consistent. Be the same person outside as you are inside. When you teach them and tell them to respect people, you respect people around them. Many of us, the way that we act is what informs the behavioral problems that our children have. You know, there's a story during the time of Sayyidina Umar where the governor of Egypt, Amr ibn al-As, who is a respected Sahaba, his son had a Jewish friend, and they had a horse race. And the Jewish friend won. And Amr ibn al-As's son got angry and he slapped his friend. He felt, I'm the governor's son. How do you defeat me in horse racing? Aren't you supposed to know that you should let me win, you know? You know, the boy reported to his dad. His dad was so aggrieved that he got up from Jerusalem, from Egypt, went all the way to Medina. Not by train, not by flight, by road, from Egypt to Medina to report to the Khalifa, Umar. When he reported, Omar sent a message, Amr ibn al-As, you are the governor, I want you to come down to Medina, you and your son. And they come down. And then he says, is this true what has happened? And they said, yes, this is true. Then he asked the son, the Jewish boy, slap the son of the governor back. It's us, you know. And he slaps him back. And then he says that to the father of the Jewish boy, the Jewish man, now you slap the governor. And he says, yeah, Khalifa, I've got what I want, I've got the justice, I don't need to do that. And then he turned to the governor and he said, since when have we been sent to enslave the people? Since when have we been sent to enslave the people? So, now let us reflect. Don't just think of it as a story. MashaAllah, glorious Islam. You, how do you treat your domestic help in the house? Do you treat them with any respect? What about your drivers? What about the security man, the gate man? What about your staff? Don't you see that how you treat them is a way that you are teaching your children? And that is how they go and behave when they see someone who's a security man, a house help, a driver, they feel that they can talk to them and disrespect them anyhow. So you've got to be, the child has to see in you the character that you are trying to impart in parenting. So you have to have that discipline. And you have to also try to immunize your children. You can't monitor everything that they do. You can't. You have to try and imbibe in them the right values and pray for them and be an example and balance compassion with compliance. You have to be firm that they comply with what is right, what they're supposed to do, but you have to balance it also with compassion. And our deen is so full of examples of compassion from the Prophet ﷺ, and I'll share just one. It is reported in the Hadith in Bukhari. Sayyidina, the Prophet ﷺ, whenever his daughter Aisha would come, and he was sitting with the companions, this is his daughter Aisha. Whenever she would come, he will get up. He'll be happy. He'll kiss her. You know the way the Arabs kiss, on the forehead, on the cheeks, etc. He would kiss her, and he would say, this is Aisha, and he will sit her where he is sitting with the companions. That's what he used to do whenever his daughter came around.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Sorry, Fatima, thank you. His daughter Fatima, radiallahu anha. And whenever he would visit her, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, whenever he would visit her, she would do exactly the same thing. She would get her. She would kiss her father. She would sit him where she was sitting. In his deathbed, when he was dying, and she came. When he was in his deathbed, she came to him, and of course, he couldn't get up to greet her, to kiss her, etc. So when he motioned to her and she came, and again, he kissed her on the forehead or thereabouts, and he whispered in her ears, and she cried. And then again he whispered in her ears, and she laughed. And who was relating this hadith? Our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, praising Fatima. This is to illustrate to you, this is the compassion that he showed. We have different cultures, and in some cultures this may not be what we do. But let us appreciate that this is what the Prophet ﷺ did. When somebody came and saw him kissing his grandchildren, Hassan Hussein, this guy was from the Banu Tamim, his name was Aqra bin Habis at-Tamimi. He comes from a tribe where they don't do stuff like that, they're tough. And he saw the Prophet kissing his grandsons. And he says, you kiss your children? I have 10 sons, I have 10 kids. I have never kissed any one of them. And the Prophet ﷺ looked at him and he said, Man la yarham, la yurham. Whoever doesn't show compassion is not shown compassion. So we need to show compassion to our children and express that love and compassion to them, and not have this cultural, so-called African attitude where we don't show compassion and that is how we show love to children. Generations before, that's fine, it worked. The last thing, I know the MC is breathing down my neck, is where he says, خَلِّلُوهُ بِسَبَئٍ.